Hello everyone, my name is Crystal Robinson and today I will be discussing Arizona's initiative and referendum processes, two features that define the state's strong tradition of direct democracy. As Tony and Thomas McClory explains in Understanding the Arizona Constitution, these tools give citizens legislative power that complements and sometimes challenges their elected representatives. What is direct democracy? Well, Arizona's constitution was shaped by the progressive movement of the early 1900s, which sought to limit the influence of political machines and empower ordinary citizens. According to McClory, direct democracy was seen as a safeguard against unresponsive governments, ensuring that voters themselves could make or veto laws when necessary. This philosophy remains central to Arizona's political identity. Article 2, Section 2 of the Arizona Constitution declares that all political power is inherent in the people. Before we begin, let's define a couple of words. An initiative is a procedure that allows citizens to propose and enact new laws or constitutional amendments. A referendum allows citizens to approve or reject laws passed by a legislator before they take effect. McClory describes the initiative as the people's legislative tool, while the referendum is the people's vote. Both give Arizona voters a voice equal to that of their representatives. Now, how were these initiatives created? The initiative process begins when citizens draft a proposal and file it with the Secretary of State. According to the understanding of Arizona Constitution, supporters must gather signatures equal to 10% of the votes cast in the most recent election of statutory changes, or 15% for constitutional amendments. Once signatures are verified, the proposal goes before voters in the next general election. If a majority approves it, it becomes a new law, bypassing the legislator entirely. Now, how are these referendums created? The referendum process, as McClory explains, is the people's way of suspending a legislative act they disagree with. When the legislator passes a bill, citizens can file a referendum petition within 90 days after the legislative session ends. They must collect signatures equal to 5% of the votes cast in the last governor's election. If those signatures are verified, the law is put on hold until voters decide whether to keep or reject it during the next election. Now it's time to compare and contrast the two. So both share the same democratic spirit, but their purposes are different. An initiative creates new laws. Referendums review and repeals laws. Initiatives are proactive, allowing voters to propose policy changes, and referendums are reactive, allowing them to block unpopular legislation. As McClory notes, the dual system ensures the ultimate lawmaking authority for people. So, now going into the pros and the cons. McClory highlights several advantages and challenges of these systems, such as some pros. They empower citizens to directly influence policy, encourage civic movement and political awareness, and it serves as a check on legislative or special interest dominance. Some cons. The process can be expensive, sometimes dominated by well-funded groups. Voters may face complex or confusing measures. Frequent initiatives can make consistent policy making difficult. With these challenges, McClory argues that initiatives and referendums remain a defining feature of Arizona's democratic character. Now, how do we connect this to Arizona's Constitution? Article 4, Part 1, Section 1 of the Arizona Constitution states that people reserve the power to propose laws and amendments and to approve or reject acts of legislature. McClory explains that this clause institutionalized direct democracy. It is not a privilege granted by the legislator, but a constitutional right of the people themselves. Through these powers, citizens act as co-legislators, reinforcing the Constitution's vision. The government's authority derives from the people. And to wrap this all up, as Tony and Thomas McClory emphasizes, Arizona's initiatives and referendum processes transform the principle of government by the people in a working reality. This empowers citizens to create, shape, and reject laws, ensuring the state's democratic foundations remain strong and participatory. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a better understanding of initiatives and referendum processes in Arizona.